Her life was a nightmare. She caught her boyfriend with another girl, and in the pub where the girl worked part-time, there were always some idiots. And then one day she got drunk and on the way home had an accident that ended her life. And opening her eyes, she turned into a furry monster. The girl looked into her room and introduced herself as her maid. She said that the mistress of this estate lived in this room. And now she is here. This furry creature. But aren't princesses usually beautiful? What if they call me a fraud for looking like this? I'm probably cursed. These were the girl's thoughts. The girl cried from resentment and misunderstanding why she was the one. If we were to be reborn, it would be into a normal body, not a hairy monster. The maid was afraid to enter the room of the monster girl. The maid asked if she was not Mistress Alexa. The girl with the fur said that she needed to think. The girl with the hairy body asked the maid to help her explain everything, because she doesn't quite understand what's happening to her, and it's as if her mind has become clouded. The maid came closer and said that the girl was probably so shocked by Mrs. Ariel's visit. This is the elder sister and princess of this country. A few days ago, she visited you. And since then, you were very sad, constantly crying in your room. The maid continued. Sister is a princess? Why is my sister a princess and I'm just Alexa? Really, I can't be a princess just because of my appearance? The girl with fur asked with offense. The girl only understood that she had become a monster and was a princess who was not even recognized. And she asked the maid to continue explaining. You, Alexandra de Pelagian Dwight, second princess of the kingdom of Felipe. You are the daughter of Camilla's concubine, who died when you were 6 years old. And at the age of 7, when you were at the Conetti estate, you were cursed. You drove away a witch who asked to come in on a rainy day for which you were cursed, she said. Although I heard that you were very, very beautiful, everyone said that you are the second beauty after Mrs. Ariel, the maid continued. The girl with the fur asked how old she was now. The maid was surprised that the girl did not remember this either, and she replied that she was 18 now. The maid added that usually girls at this age make their debut in society, but she had a special case. But on the other hand, she is already engaged. The girl was dumbfounded. Engaged? With whom? Her fiancé turned out to be the Marquis Herman of Bedford, commander of the Royal Army. The maid said that it is so beautiful that it is called the flower of the empire. And the maid said that this was the most eligible bachelor in the empire. Then the girl asked why he should marry her. The maid replied that it seemed to be under contract. But the engagement will most likely be called off. Everyone knows that Princess Ariel and the Duke are dating and that he hates you, the maid admitted. She also said that the engagement took place only because of her, because Alexandra was in love with this Duke. So much so that she even made a deal with her father, the king. You are very strong. And you said that you would destroy all the enemies of the kingdom. You are even called the Guard of Death. In the last war with the Eiffel Empire, we would definitely have lost if it weren't for you. Therefore, we are all very grateful to you. If it weren't for you, we would have already been swallowed up by that empire. But you know, some people call you all sorts of offensive words behind your back. For example, a monster, a dirty washcloth, and even a depraved stalker of men, the maid admitted to her. The girl was surprised that this was all about her, 18 years old. She blamed herself for her bad luck. After all, who else would be lucky enough to be in a situation like her? Monster, princess, and stalker. At first, the girl felt sorry for herself, and then she decided that she couldn't live like that. She needs to find benefit from this situation and survive, no matter what. For several days, Alexa lived with different thoughts and got used to her new body. But one day, she decided that she needed to pull herself together and change her life. Lily, I have a favor to ask, she said to the maid. And after a while, the maid brought her a sugar liquid as she asked. Lily didn't understand why this was needed. Alexa showed her and said, Look, I will apply this liquid to my hand and sharply tear off what is stuck. Lily was shocked that her mistress was not in pain at all. The girl explained to the maid that she should do the same to her, but only quickly, and then it would not hurt her so much. And after a few hours of endless pain, everything was ready. Now she looked human, but there was still work to be done on her hair. The girl thought, By the way, this Alexa has a pretty good appearance. Although my body is not very good yet, you can already tell from my face that I am a person, she reasoned, looking at herself in the mirror. Maid Lily couldn't believe her eyes. Mistress Alexa, how did you manage to do this? It's magic? I didn't even know that you could remove fur this way. Lily admired her. Alexa ordered her to gather all the workers. When Lady Alexandra came out to her workers, she was surprised that there were so few workers. The girl thought that since she was a princess, she was supposed to have many servants. The workers, looking at her, began to discuss that it was impossible for the hairy monster to turn into a beauty, and that this was not the real Alexa. Alexandra greeted all the workers and said that she had gathered them all to shed light on the current situation. First of all, she called the cook to her. The girl was indignant and said, "It seems to me that my dishes are too fatty, don't you think?" To this, the cook replied that Mrs. Ariel advised to do so. Alexa thought this was suspicious and needed to be changed. The cook began to argue with her that this menu was developed especially for her by Princess Ariel. Always this Ariel. Why are her words more important to them than the words of the mistress? It's time to teach them a lesson and show them who's boss, Alexa decided. And she turned to her workers. "Listen carefully, your mistress is me. If I hear any objections again, I won't just forgive it." The girl thought that monsters also had their advantages, and told the servants that now she would command what and how they should do. And after the cook, she continued talking with her personal hairdresser, a girl named Jen. While she was combing her hair, Alexa opened up. She admitted that although she looks like a monster, in fact, she is just a girl of 18 years old. Although before her death, she was 24. Alexa told hairdresser Gina that she wanted people to see her as a person, and not a monster, at least those who are close to her. Gina and Lily burst into tears and apologized for hurting her with their words earlier. The girl thought that she did not want to upset them so much, so she told them that she just wanted them to do their jobs well. Then they promised to make her Princess Alexa, the most beautiful girl in the kingdom, and from that day on, Alexandra played sports and took care of herself every day. She learned how to manage the estate and studied the financial side of the issue. 3 months passed like this. When Alexa sorted through the paperwork, she found out that the cost of groceries was too incredible. It was as if someone was trying to destroy Alexa's health and financial condition with this huge expenditure on food. "Ariel, what exactly are you trying to achieve?" she asked mentally. "Dear Princess Ariel, I couldn't stand aside and not notice such changes in Mrs. Alex. She got rid of all the fur and refused the food offered. Has her curse really disappeared? I'm too worried about her. Please get to the estate as quickly as possible and check its condition. Have a good trip. Hurtin' and Willow." Princess Ariel read the letter and ordered the servants to prepare the carriage. At this time, Alexa was fighting with a knight with swords. He was very tired and did not want to continue. Alexa was surprised that the knight got tired so quickly. The guy said that he could no longer continue training because he was not a man, and she was a monster. The girl thought that he needed to be taught a lesson, so she lightly hit him on the head and the guy fell unconscious. She didn't understand how this was possible. It was as if there was magic, enormous power and magic. Now it was clear why everyone was so afraid of Alex. And the girl decided to test her strength and cut the statue in half. Maid Lily approached the princess and told her that Princess Ariel had come to visit her. Alexa was surprised that her sister had arrived here. The girl did not understand why she was here. After all, she was told that she comes here once every 2 months. So why now? This is no accident. You need to be careful. Ariel, the first princess, was waiting for her in the living room. Alexa, entering the room, said, "Sister, sorry for the wait." She noticed how surprised Ariel was to see her without fur. This was truly hard to believe. "Allow me to introduce myself. I'm Alexa, the second princess of the kingdom." The girl specially introduced herself. "Are you very surprised to see me like this? To be honest, this is all an act of magic," Alexa told her older sister. Ariel looked very worried. "What? Has she lifted the curse?" she heard in her head. Alexa continued that it was quite difficult and long to explain, but the curse disappeared. "I'm no longer a monster, but your little sister Alexa," she said. And Ariel, after a pause, asked, "How am I supposed to believe that you are the real Alexa?" Alexa touched the figurine and cut it with her finger with one touch. "Look, sister, only Alexa can do this. Now do you believe me?" the girl asked. "Yes, you are definitely Alexa. I am so glad. I was so worried that you were constantly sitting in the room and never going out," Ariel said, wiping away her tears. Then Alexa thought that her sister really burst into tears. Anyone who saw it would definitely think that it was really because of me. But she decided not to believe her tears. After all, Alexa doesn't yet know how Ariel really feels about her. To win this war, you need to build a defense without suspicion. Don't cry, sister, I'm very happy too. And I am grateful to you for your feelings. I hope we will do everything together in the future, Alexa said, hugging Ariel tightly. Is this how it will be, little sister? Alexa asked. Ariel reluctantly told her, of course. Then Alexa said, if that's the case, let's go back to the palace. It's been a week since Alexa arrived at the palace with Ariel. The princess constantly makes excuses, saying that she is too busy with business to meet her. Since that day, they have not seen each other at all. The entire royal palace was working hard to prepare for the king's birthday, which would take place in 3 days, and only Alexa rested, played sports, and thought about whether Ariel would appear at the reception. A maid came into her room and said that the princess had sent her to serve her. She also said that the lady had sent her clothes for the reception that would take place in honor of the king's birthday, and she added that she should choose what she likes. But Alexa, looking at the dresses, thought that they all seemed to be from the last century, and she asked the maid if that was all. Since you came from the village, you most likely do not know that not everything that Princess Ariel has prepared for you is the latest trend of the season. And if you don't understand, then just choose and thank the lady, said the maid Rachel brazenly. Maid Lily was surprised that she spoke so rudely, and Alexa slapped the maid as hard as she could, adding, well, Rachel, I hope this was enough to remind you of who I am and where you belong. She also asked me to tell all the servants in this palace that they should respect the princesses of their own kingdom. Rachel thought that Princess Alexa truly lived up to her nickname. And what will happen to the palace now after her arrival? The day has arrived for the king's birthday reception. Tailor Jamie admired his work, the elegant dress on Alex. This dress was simply created for you. Then he added that it was much better than those ancient rags that Princess Ariel sent. Alexa thought that this would be enough to piss Ariel off. But since Alexa didn't have money, she told Tailor Jamie, listen here, I'm from the royal family, but I don't have enough money. But think of it as being able to make a dress for royalty. Consider this a great advancement in your career. Jamie thought that this was a blackmailer, not a princess, but he told her that he was happy to be part of her transformation. It was a dress tailored to her figure and made from the best fabrics. Alexa was informed that everything was ready and she could go into the hall. They announced in the hall, Alexandra de Pelagian-Dwight, second princess of the Kingdom of Felipe. People in the hall began to whisper, what? Alexa? She is here? And Alexa, in a chic outfit, walked through the entire hall, straight to the king's throne and greeted his majesty. The king could not believe that this was really his daughter Alexa. She was completely covered in fur, just like a monster. The king said she looked beautiful. His majesty asked for silence from the guests in the hall and informed everyone that his daughter and second princess of the kingdom, Alexandra de Pelagian-Dwight, had freed herself from a terrible curse. This is the blessing that the goddess Demetria sent to us, and a sign showing the bright future of our country. Long live the Kingdom of Felipe, said the king, hugging his daughter. Wow, even in this situation he was able to use his daughter and turn everything in his favor. What an interesting man. Alexa's life really wasn't sweet, the girl thought. And the new Alexa decided that she needed to repay her for the years of suffering. She told the king that she would go to her sister. He didn't mind, and said he hoped they would become closer. Heading towards her sister, Alexa noticed a man with black eyes and black hair enter the hall. Their gazes crossed. At that moment, someone grabbed her hand. Sister, I apologize for being so urgent. I am your younger brother, Wilhelm. I've heard a lot of news about you. I need to tell you something, the guy said. This is Archduke Belkalon. He's cursed. 30 years ago, the late king married the devil's daughter to maintain peace in the kingdom. And although she was only half a demon, she was executed for her cruelty and ruthlessness. He is the son of that woman. To be honest, no one is sure that he belongs to royal blood, since black eyes and black hair indicate belonging to demons and not to people. Who knows when his devilish part will take over him? The prince finished. Alexa thought that they had only met 10 minutes ago, and he had already said so many things. It's much easier with him than with Ariel. Apparently he has an inferiority complex because of the Archduke. It could be concluded that her father, the king, needs Alexa only for political purposes. The younger brother is busy with his fantasies and suspicions, which means the biggest problem remains. Ariel, who was hiding her true identity. "Wilhelm, if you already said hello, can I pick up Alexa?" Ariel asked. Alexa turned and sweetly asked her, "What did you want, little sister?" She replied that she needed to introduce her to many people. Ariel introduced her sister to her friends, and they began to shamelessly discuss her right in front of her. Alexa felt like she was a monkey at the zoo. Ariel made a remark to her friends that they shouldn't discuss her sister like that. After all, the word peculiar can only describe the lower strata of society, isn't it? Princess Ariel asked her friends. Now everything became clear to Alex. Ariel wants to make her sister look bad and make all the aristocrats laugh at her. "Since I'm a monkey in this zoo, all I need to do is destroy my cage and escape," Alexa decided, and she poured a glass of wine on the head of one of her friends. That girl was indignant that the dress was very expensive, and her designer sat on it for several hours. Alexa apologized, but then added something else. "But you don't want to say that without this dress you are an ordinary simpleton inside? Without this dress, who are you?" Alexa asked, taking her chin. Alexa swung her hand and the girl closed her eyes, and the princess tore off her dress, tearing it below the knees and throwing a piece of fabric on the floor. Her legs became visible. "But I, even without this peculiar dress, still have my strength and my name as the second princess of the kingdom of Philippe, Alexa de Pelagian Dwight," she said. Alexa thought that they came here for a show like this anyway. This means that they will now have to choose her side or someone else's. Princess Alexa told the girl to send the bill for the dress to the palace, and she would repay her with interest. The girl asked her to stop, but Ariel, as Alexa expected, does not openly express her position but prefers to remain on the sidelines. It's like a game of chess. She gathers allies and is about to attack, and if Alexa cannot defend herself, she will be eliminated from the game. While the princess was thinking, someone shouted, "Princess, Marquis of Bedford." "Marquis Herman Bedford, is that him? The groom Alexa couldn't live without? Well, here we are," the girl thought. Ariel noticed Bedford and rushed towards him. "Princess Ariel, will you allow me to steal the last dance?" the Marquis asked her. The princess replied that she would love to, but Alexa is here. The girlfriends said that they were a wonderful couple no matter what anyone said. Alexa thought it was true. "I stole the groom whom your sister loved so much. Now the relationship between you is clear. If I'm going to continue to live in this world, I need to protect Alexa," the girl decided. She took a step forward and said, "Don't worry, I, Alexa de Pelagian Dwight, today officially dissolve my engagement to the Marquis of Bedford." Ariel and the Marquis did not believe what they heard. "Break off the engagement? Is it true? Indeed, Alexa, you?" Princess Ariel said in surprise and at the same time gratefully. Alexa answered everyone. "You all know that it's the two of them that are so suitable for each other. And since I'm an uninvited guest in the Marquis's heart, wouldn't it be better for me to just leave?" Despite all the rumors and criticism, the old Alexa could not let go of the Marquis. Therefore now everyone was probably very surprised by what was happening. Alexa decided that now it was her turn and asked her sister if she didn't think the same thing. But Ariel was silent, standing next to the Marquis of Bedford. "I will take your silence as consent. My engagement to the Marquis of Bedford is officially over, and everyone present here is a witness to this," said Princess Alexa and headed towards the exit. She felt free, but this was only the first step. There is still a whole way ahead. Alexa went out onto the balcony to get some fresh air, as it was stuffy for her in the hall, and the girl was very scared when she saw how high this balcony was above the ground. "It's so high here, if I fall, will I die right away?" Alexa thought, and remembered her death. "But I've already died once. If I die here too, will I be transported to another world again? No, I've just started my journey. I can't think about the end," she decided. Then the girl said to herself, "Pull yourself together, Lee Hanbiel. No, get it together, Alexa." And suddenly she lost her balance and almost fell down, but someone's hand grabbed her. The man hugged her and pressed her to him. It was he, Archduke Belkalon. He looked so intently into her eyes. The girl thanked him for saving her and ran into the hall. After catching her breath, she wondered how long he had stood there and watched her. Then Alexa reassured herself with the hope that they would never meet again. After the reception ended, the girl returned to her normal life as a princess of the kingdom. Almost everyone around was discussing the termination of her engagement by the Marquis. They say that Ariel and the Marquis did not even meet after that. Princess Ariel did not attend any social events or host receptions. This is what Lily told Alexa. But she didn't care about that. All she cared about now was the Archduke and their first meeting. Alexa thought that she needed to die, and then she would simply move to another world. But in fact, she was so bored sitting idle in her room. A few days later, the hunting competition began. Ariel furtively looked at the Marquis of Bedford and he at her. Alexa finally walked out of her room into the light, and she couldn't believe her eyes when she saw him, Archduke Belkalon. She thought to herself, "This can't be. Well, what kind of setup is this?" A few days before the start of the competition, the maid Lily told Alexa that the hunting competition would begin soon. This is a traditional event attended by the royal family and aristocrats. It brings together male hunters and the women who support them into one team. And the team that brings the biggest and most expensive loot will be the winner. But if a male hunter does not have a woman to support him, he will be disqualified. And this is such a big taboo that it's not worth mentioning. Lily added that she thought it would be better to expel those who break the rules or behave inappropriately. Alexa thought that this seemed like a very boring event. But she will take part in it. Since Alexa is part of the royal family, she needs to take part in public events. Plus, Lily and Jane had worked hard to prepare her for this day. Lily prepared her a costume like the hunters, just as Alex asked. Alexa found the maids a little annoying, but still she could rely on them. At the event, they again discussed her and her outfit. "Oh, Princess Alexa is still very peculiar, or should I say porcupine," said one aristocrat. Alexa turned and prepared for a confrontation. "What did you come to brag about? A necklace, a bracelet, or a dress? Didn't the lesson with your friend's wine dress teach you anything?" she asked. The girl apologized, and Alexa seemed to experience déjà vu, and I thought that it would be better for them to come up with something new. Then, everyone heard the king's greeting. "I, King Raphael III, declare the hunting competition open," he said loudly. And so the competition began, and Alexa met him again. "Belkalon has been very active lately. With your presence, our event acquires sophistication," said the king to the Archduke, who greeted His Majesty. "The best aristocrats of the Kingdom of Philippe have gathered here today. May the goddess Demetria help you win an honest and worthy victory. The winner will receive a sword, a monetary reward, and glorify his name and the name of his family. I ask everyone to prepare," the king commanded. And as Lily said, the male hunters began to choose women who would support them. And when Alexa had already become accustomed to the local atmosphere, she appeared. "Alexa, who will you support?" asked Princess Ariel. The girl replied that she didn't even know, but she herself thought that she needed to pull herself together in order to prevent herself from being attacked. Alexa asked in response, "And you are a sister, who will you support?" Although it seems that everyone already knows the answer. But who knows? The human heart is so changeable. Prince William asked His Majesty how about the royal family also taking part in the competition. For example, the Archduke could try his hand. Alexa was very surprised by this proposal, since she had heard that men of royal blood usually watch the competitions, but do not participate in them. The king replied that this was a great idea, and he added that he always didn't like the fact that the royal family stood on the sidelines. Alexa noticed that the prince was blinded by envy. But the king stubbornly does not pay any attention to this. Is it possible that the damned Archduke will also take part in the competition? But no one will support him. The Archduke is said to have fire magic. Rumor has it that his hands were even tied to prevent him from burning anyone alive. And what else can you expect from a person with such appearance? They said. Were their hands tied so that he wouldn't burn anyone? Isn't this just torture? Alexa thought. Even though she wanted to avoid him as much as possible, she couldn't pretend she didn't hear it. During all this time, the hunters have already chosen their assistants, and only the Marquis of Bedford and the Archduke Belkalon were left without a couple. Alexa said that she had finished her preparations and was ready to go. "Why did you choose me as your partner?" "I thought you hated me," the guy asked. A few hours before, a pair was chosen for the remaining 2 participants. First, they announced, "Who wants to become a couple for the Marquis of Belford Randall Harmon?" The 2 girls raised their hands, but everyone was staring at Alexa. She understood what they needed, but she was not going to participate in it. "Lord Belford and Lady Cecil are partners," the guy announced. Alexa did not believe that his partner was not Ariel. Ariel looked at her sister, who was perplexed, and smiled. That's right, I'm not the only one who hides her true feelings, Alexa thought. Then it was announced who wanted to become a couple for the Archduke of Belkalon, Dwight Estar. But no one wanted to be his partner. Who is crazy enough to accompany him? His assistant will be punished with a barrage of fire, Alexa heard. And she stepped forward and said, Alexa de Pelagian Dwight, I want to be Archduke Belkalon's partner. The girl wanted her father and sister to be surprised. The king said that this was not the time or place for jokes and demanded that she apologize to the Archduke. Alexa told her father that she was not joking. The girl swore on the name of Dwight that she was sincere, although she herself did not understand why she was doing this. Perhaps it was all because she saw herself in the eyes of the Archduke, in the eyes of the shunned, rejected, and ridiculed by everyone. She understood his role, which is why she gave him her hand. The younger brother called Alexa, but she did not respond. Then the organizer asked the Archduke if he accepted Alexa de Pelagian Dwight as his partner. Alexa extended her hand to him and smiled. She wanted him to agree, because if he refuses her, he will be tortured. Belkalon touched Alexa's hand and said that he accepted her. Now Alexa has decided to take responsibility for him. After the king announced the start of the competition, all teams dispersed to prepare for the hunt. Only Alexa was not left alone. Ariel and her friends approached her. This has become quite a frequent and annoying occurrence. They asked her whether she really no longer felt anything for Sir Belford. Alexa replied that she didn't feel anything for him at all from the beginning. What happened between them was a banal calculation on her part. My sister, the first princess, could not decide on marriage so quickly, so I was engaged to the Marquis instead of her. I saved it for Ariel, Alexa said, smiling. Then the girl told them that it was time for her to prepare for the hunt, and wanted to leave, but Ariel grabbed her hand and asked why she didn't choose Belford. That's what I have to ask, Ariel. Why didn't you choose Belford? Doesn't it look like you didn't have feelings for him? Alexa asked. Answer first, why did you choose this black-eyed one? Ariel asked in response. Alexa asked why not. Ariel replied that he was cursed. So what? You know that I'm a monster myself, Alexa said. If you were a monster, I would not have returned you to the palace, Princess Ariel answered her sister. Archduke Belkalon approached Alexa. They stood silent for a long time looking at each other. Then the guy said, Someone is forced to be near me. Alexa realized that he was talking about her and replied, I'm not forced, and now I'm not forced either. This man is used to being surrounded by hatred. The girl asked why he was avoiding her. Belkalon turned around and went to the horse, saying that he needed to ride. Alexa asked permission to support him and gave him a scarf. She wanted to tie it around his arm but couldn't wrap the scarf around his bulging muscles. Then the girl asked permission and tied a scarf over her partner's bow. The guy thanked her and asked if she always does this to other people. Alexa didn't understand what he was talking about, and the Archduke thanked her, got on his horse, and rode away. The girl thought that according to rumors he was a cruel demon, but he looked quite sweet and innocent. And from now on, hunting and competitions becomes enjoyable for her. Alexa was riding a horse. Her mood was lifted thanks to today's sun and fresh breeze. Instead of a tight dress, she put on comfortable pants and felt great. The girl remembered the award in this competition. She didn't need a sword or money, but she would like to see the shock on the king's face. Alexa, happy, climbed high into the tree. From there, she saw 3 guys and accidentally overheard their conversation. You assembled the traps correctly, right? Asked one guy. The second replied that he had asked the most experienced blacksmith. Are you sure that the Duke will pass here, Lord Hefanio? I don't think it will be so easy to get rid of him, the guy said. Another asked what would happen if someone else got caught. A third said it would be interesting to see as he was disappointed no one was punished this year. Another guy said that the next person will get caught. Before he could finish speaking, Alexa jumped down on them from a tree and kicked them in flight. I just heard something very interesting. Would anyone like to explain? She said.
The guys were very surprised, and one of them said, P. Princess, Lord Evenzel, Lord Halcyon, and Lord Helfanio. Alexa listed them.
You know very well who the Duke is paired with, don't you? She asked. I'm warning you, even if you're a princess, you won't get away with this, one guy replied. My father, Count Manuela, will not tolerate this, he added. Alexa realized that he and the girl with the wine dress were relatives, and their similarities don't stop at appearances. Alexa went in search of the Archduke. She hoped that she had gone in the right direction and that he had not fallen into a trap. The guys told her that they had sent a spy. The servant accompanying Belkalon today is actually a spy. The girl prayed that everything would be fine with the Duke. She herself did not understand her thoughts. Why am I so worried about him? I don't even really know him, so why does he bother me so much? It's like I like him. Alexa thought to herself. No, I just don't want to put my partner in danger. Yes, exactly, this is my sense of duty, she convinced herself. Alexa felt a little rested and set out on her search with renewed vigor. But suddenly she realized that she had entered a swamp. The girl blamed herself for the fact that she should have found the trap and not fallen into it. What is the point of rebirth anyway? Not only am I an outcast, but I'm also unlucky, she thought. An hour later, Alexa could no longer move, being chest-deep in the swamp. She thought that until now she had overcome the most terrible situations on her own. The girl noticed someone and called for help. The guy came closer and it turned out that it was Marcus, her ex-fiancé. Alexa was upset that it was him. Alexa asked him for help, but he turned away and walked away. I know you don't love me, but if you just leave me here, you won't be forgiven. No matter how hard people try not to mess with me, it doesn't change the fact that my last name is Dwight, she shouted after him. He asked her to wait, and he himself turned away and cut the green reed rope with his blade, and the swamp gradually began to leave Alexa's body. She didn't understand how he did it. The guy said it was just regular soil magic, and if you destroy the source, the magic will dissipate. Simple magic did not work here, so they mixed several spells. Marcus held out his hand to Alexa and told her to grab it, but she did not give her hand. Then he said, if you get pulled in even more, then you will have a very long time to get out of here. What is he up to? He doesn't like touching Alexa, the girl thought, and said that she would wait for someone else. Then the Marquis pulled her out of the swamp with his own hands. Belford lifted Alexa high off the ground, holding her waist with his hands. The girl asked him to lower her to the ground and added that this help was unnecessary. Princess, did something happen? Asked Archduke Belkalon, making his way through the bushes towards them. Alexa rushed to him, asking if he was okay. I was worried. Of course, as your partner, Alexa admitted to him. Then she asked where the person accompanying him had gone. Belford didn't take his eyes off them. Belkalon replied that he had sent him on business and asked how the princess knew about this. Alexa smiled and replied that she could find out about everything. The girl added that this must be her partner's intuition. After all, it's impossible for something to happen even to one of the couple. It seemed to the Duke that something had happened to the princess. Belkalon looked at Belford and Alexa with suspicion and jealousy. The girl said that she fell into a trap prepared by other participants, and the Marquis saved her. As the princess's partner, I thank you, the Duke said to the Marquis. This is not worth your thanks, Belford answered him. Then Alexa remembered that she did not thank Marcus for saving her and told him, Marquis Belford, thank you for helping me. Belkalon looked at them with a jealous gaze. Princess, there was a small stream near the road I was walking along. You can wash there, said the Archduke. Alexa would love to do this now that she's been in the swamp. Therefore, she followed the Duke, wishing the Marquis a successful hunt. After all, one way or another, he helped her, so she should be grateful to him. While Alexa was bathing in the stream, the Duke sat next to her on a stone. He asked if she was injured. The girl replied that she was fine, only she had lost her bow. Alexa noticed how her arrow floated away from her with the current. Belkalon also bent down for the arrow, just like her, and they fell into the water together. Alexa lay on top and looked into his eyes. The girl apologized to the Duke for her clumsiness. Even though he said that everything was fine, Alexa blamed herself for always doing something strange in front of the Duke. And Alexa caught herself thinking that she wanted to show him only the good side. She didn't want misunderstandings to build up between them. Therefore, Alexa said, Duke, I want to tell you something. Is that so? Speak. At the first meeting, you looked like that because you were too embarrassed, he replied. There are a lot of people who don't like me, and facing this face-to-face is not very pleasant. It may be awkward for the princess, but I don't care, the Duke admitted. He added that it is normal for people to feel embarrassed. Alexa smiled at him and said, thank you. She thought it was a funny consolation from a damned man to a monster. If I look closely at you, I can't look away, Alexa admitted to the Duke with wet hair. And he asked if she hadn't recently called him Belkalon. Alexa said, "Sorry about that, I was just surprised and glad to see the Duke, so Belkalon." The Duke replied that it sounded a little better that way. The girl thought that he would draw a line between them, but he allowed her to call himself by name. Then she decided that it would be fair if he called her by name. Alexa extended her hand to the Duke and said, smiling, "Hold on, Belkalon, you're not going to sit in the water all day, are you?" "Of course not, Alexa," he answered and took her hand. The princess noticed that he smiled slightly and she was very surprised. Belkalon admitted that his clothes were very wet, and it will take a long time for it to dry. Alexa turned away and said that he shouldn't be embarrassed by her and dry his clothes. She decided that for the sake of it she could wait, but the girl turned around. And she noticed that his clothes were already dry. Alexa asked if he could use magic. Belkalon replied that he could, since the blood of demons flows in him. The Duke admitted that he specifically did not want to tell this. After all, by saying this, he will only arouse unnecessary suspicion. Loneliness and fatigue were hidden behind his eyes. Where there was not a single emotion left, there were only traces of countless condemnations and mistrust. At the same time, they were so similar and different. Princess Alexa continuously fought to change, and the Duke was afraid of change and continued to kill himself. Both she and he are already precious in themselves. Belkalon admitted to the girl that today is such a good day that it's blinding. Alexa apologized for the fact that because of her, the hunt was not a success at all. The Duke replied that it was enough that they were both unharmed. The princess really wanted to see the king's face after her victory, but she sincerely thanked the Duke for his partnership. As she chatted with him little by little, she realized that he was easier to talk to than she thought. Contrary to expectations, he turned out to be a talented storyteller and easily talked on any topic. He didn't believe in stereotypes about monsters and demons, and it seems he became her good friend. Alexa was admiring Belkalon when suddenly she noticed something green flying straight at him. Alexa pushed the Duke aside and cut the green creature in half. Belkalon shot his bow at the second creature and said, "Watch out, Alexa, these are monsters." The girl noticed that the monsters continued to arrive and called the Duke to hide in the forest. He replied that there were a lot more of them than they thought, so Alexa had to leave. The princess said that she would go to the main hall to get the knights. Belkalon called his horse and gave Alexa his bow. She thanked him for everything. Alexa mounted her horse and said goodbye. "Belkalon, take care of yourself, I'll be back soon." The guy looked after her and knew that she would return. "My partner, Alexa? She is a very strong person, and it's not because she's a monster. She is strong in heart and soul, and therefore she will definitely return," he thought. "Take them away from the squads. We need to carry away the wounded. Don't run, fight. These are just monsters," Marquis Bedford shouted to the soldiers, killing the green monsters. "Find His Majesty, we need reinforcements," shouted Garion, vice-captain of the Royal Knights. The knight reported that His Majesty immediately left the hunting grounds. Even the arrows didn't take the monsters, and Garion said to the Marquis, "Captain, we urgently need to evacuate." Marcus understood that Garion was right. This battle was pointless. But he must do something for the sake of the soldiers who follow him. Marcus wondered what he should do and did not notice the monster that attacked him from behind. Garion shouted but did not have time to do anything. Suddenly, someone's arrow split the monster in half and they saw Alexa on a horse. All the soldiers turned to look at her. No one could believe that she was again on the battlefield, as she had once been in the guise of a monster. Alexa got off her horse and demanded attention. First, she thanked the knights. "I am grateful to you for your desire to fight to the end, but I can't say that the tactics you chose are correct," said Alexa. Everyone looked at her in bewilderment. Garion said that the knights are doing everything in their power, and it is not the fault of any tactics. Belford calmed him down and offered to listen to the princess. Alexa said that she understood the principle by which monsters attack and asked to transfer command to her. Captain Marcus asked how he could give her the soldiers. "Marquis, even if we throw them away, they will come and come without end. They move according to the same pattern, from east to west and vice versa, thereby creating such chaos. More and more of them arrive and they can group together, becoming one huge monster. We don't need to just stand and fight back. It is better to divide into two groups, Western and Eastern. This is how we will stop the monsters." Alexa shared her plan. Even with the power of a monster, she remained a student of Li Hanbiel. Marquis of Bedford, I see that you are having difficulty making a decision, and therefore, as Commander-in-Chief of the Royal Army, I order you to regroup, she shouted. All knights follow the orders of the Commander-in-Chief. The 1st and 2nd squads go west, the 3rd and 4th squad go east, the 5th squad follow me, Belford shouted. Alexa held her sword out in front of her and shouted, You don't fight to protect the royal family, you fight to protect those you love. And the knights followed her. During the monster invasion, King Felipe fled the battlefield. Raphael III was not much different from other kings, even though he was 3rd in line to the throne. He became king through internecine war. First Prince Alexis and second Prince Franz both died in the struggle for the throne. And just like that, Raphael became a ruler. But it's impossible to say that this place suited him. The affairs of the nobles were handled by Chancellor Ivankar. The royal knights defended the kingdom from invasion. And as a result of the incompetence of Raphael III, doubts arose regarding the next candidate for the throne. Prince Wilhelm is a representative of royal blood, and Archduke Belkalon is a bearer of devilish blood. There were many rumors that they did not get along with each other. But Alexa was different from her ordinary relatives. She has the strength of an archduke and the courage to lead the knights forward. She was once a monster, but now she leads everyone forward. It is Alexa who deserves the royal crown like no other, Geryon thought as he watched her lead the knights and admired her. Suddenly, Archduke Belkalon appeared and killed the huge monster. The soldiers discussed his fighting skills. At that moment, Alexa was distracted, and a huge monster appeared behind her. Belkalon killed him and thus saved her from death. Are you okay, princess? He asked. Alexa headed towards him, but the Marquis intercepted her and asked, How are you? Alexa was very annoyed by his sudden concern. The soldiers shouted, Hooray, we defeated the monsters! Hooray for the Commander-in-Chief! Hooray for Captain Belford! Princess Alexa was upset. After all, although Belkalon came later, he did much more. And all the laurels will go to the Marquis. She knew they wouldn't acknowledge his help. It seems to me that the other person should receive gratitude. What does saving your life mean to you? The princess shouted. The soldiers began to discuss among themselves that she was right. If it weren't for the Archduke, they would have been swept away and everyone would have died. But this way they were able to defend themselves. Hooray for Archduke Belkalon! Long life to Archduke Belkalon! The knights shouted. Belkalon told the girl she shouldn't have done that. Alexa came closer to the Duke and said, smiling, No, I don't think so, Belkalon. Geryon approached them and said, Princess, since we are done here, you need to return to the palace. Alexa looked at Belford and said she wasn't going back. They rode together on a horse, and Belkalon asked Alexa why she left with him. After all, she could have stayed and celebrated the victory with all the soldiers. Alexa's heart was pounding wildly from the fact that she was sitting on a horse with him. The girl replied that even though they won, how many lives were lost? And therefore she sees no reason for joy. But in fact, she ran away because she did not have the courage to face the truth of Pyrrhic victory. Mr. Belkalon, is this Princess Alexa? Hello, said the boy who met them. It was Mael, the Archduke's servant. Belkalon asked why he was there. Mael replied that Salovin had sent him. Were you and the princess on a date? The boy asked. The Duke apologized to Alexa for the fact that this servant had no manners at all. Alexa replied that everything is fine, because the boy is still small and very cute, so she forgives him. Suddenly, Mael said that the Duke smelled strange. The princess thought that it might be from the blood of monsters. Mael found the bag by the unpleasant smell. Alexa asked if he knew what it was. Mael answered, yes. This bag contains a mixture of herbs that attract monsters. They create a strong aroma that monsters can smell from kilometers away. And if a person has it, he'll definitely be in trouble, the guy said. Belkalon, why do you have it? Alexa asked. But the Duke was silent. Then Alexa asked how she could trust a man who was up to something behind her back. Alexa believed that he himself was like a chest of secrets. Just when it seemed to her that they were getting closer, this pops up. But he reminded her of her old self. Archduke, it doesn't matter. You can continue to be silent. The conversation is over. Goodbye, Alexa said and turned to leave. Belkalon grabbed her hand. I'll tell you, but promise that you won't hold a grudge against me, said the Duke. And Belkalon admitted that he did this because he was worried about her safety. If you hadn't chosen me as your hunting partner and I hadn't taken part in it, then who would you be with? He asked, holding Alexa's hand. It was a stupid but honest answer. Everything fell into place. She truly saw her old self, Lee Hanbiel, in him. A girl who went out of her way for someone's love. Belkalan, I don't want you to get hurt. Of course, it's strange to say this, we met recently, but you are important to me. This is from the bottom of my heart, admitted Alexa. The Duke was surprised by her confession and remained silent. Then Alexa asked him to accompany her to the castle, again calling him Belkalan and not the Archduke, which meant her forgiveness. The girl walked around the garden and thought, 2 weeks have already passed since she came into this world. It looks like she will never return to her world. And yet she was happy here. You will no longer have to experience problems with work, rush while eating, or be an outcast because of your poverty. I'm just afraid that this will all turn out to be a dream. What if the real Alexa returns? What if she forces me to return everything back? The girl was afraid. No, I did all this on my own. You missed your chance, Alexa. I don't care if they call me a monster, now it's me, she decided. Suddenly, Lily ran into the garden and called Alexa. She told the princess that she had news. Remember what you asked me? I'm talking about the seller of bags of herbs. Lily found out that he is a traveling merchant and he is already in another empire, since he left Felipe. And now it won't be easy to find him, because he could be anywhere. Then Lily reported that the king had sent another person to her. The maid said that the princess needed to rest, but he was very insistent. Alexa understood why the king called her. The king's escape from a hunting competition caused popular unrest. Some people are going to overthrow the king, and they will not miss this opportunity. Marquis Sergei, head of the aristocracy, supported Alexa as commander-in-chief of Felipe's army. And since it is connected with this situation, the king cannot help but pay attention to it. Alexa had already managed to avoid this meeting 5 or 6 times, but she was already starting to get tired of it. And the princess decided to confront the king. When Alexa entered the hall to His Majesty, her father rushed to her and said how he had not seen her for a long time, and he even asked how she was feeling. She was greeted by Duke Manuel and Count Gerard Abigail. Alexa responded to their greetings. Really, I have met 2 of the most loyal people to the state. The king told his daughter that thanks to her, they managed to protect the kingdom. Alexa replied that this was also a great merit of Archduke Belkalan. Then she added, just for the honor of the royal family you ran away crying? Or have you found refuge? Of course now it doesn't matter at all. The king simply replied, I am certainly honorable to the Archduke. Then Alexa said that this was enough and asked her father to get to the point of the matter for which he called her. Then the king said that monsters had appeared again on the western border. He sent troops there, but to no avail. The lords need help, but no one is able to help them. And the kingdom of Felipe has serious problems. Alexa, you know that you are my last hope. As always, it is your duty to protect the kingdom, the king said, squeezing her hand. The girl thought that His Majesty knows how to manipulate people. The old Alexa clearly lacked attention, and she would not be able to resist such words. The king asked his daughter why she was silent, and he added, the Marquis of Belford will be there too, a month, maybe 2, and you will be together. Alexa replied, Your Majesty, I don't understand why you mention him in our conversation. After all, I have officially broken off my engagement to the Marquis. But her father answered her that she had changed so much lately that the Marquis might change his mind. Therefore, she should not miss the opportunity to establish a relationship with him. Princess Alexa said that she would not follow His Majesty's orders. The king did not understand what was happening and asked if she had any health problems. She replied that she was fine. Then the king ordered her to explain the reason. Alexa was disgusted with this man and said that she had lost her magic. The king's order used to be a great honor to me. I thought I would remain a monster forever, but now I've gotten rid of the curse and I want to truly fall in love, admitted Alexa. The girl began to cry and explained to her father that she was now a normal person, like everyone else, and no longer wanted to see her ex-fiancé. And as a father, he should wish her well. The king again repeated that the Marquis could change his mind. Alexa got angry and shouted, You still don't understand me? I don't want to see him anymore. Alexa asked her father if he hadn't noticed how the Marquis treated her, but the king continued to persuade her. The girl shouted that she hated the Marquis with all her heart. Then the king said that this was too much and offered her this option. If she agrees, he will set her up with any aristocrat Felipe. if he agrees, of course. Princess Alexa said it wouldn't change her mind. True love must appear suddenly. "I will await my fate. Will you support me?" she asked her father. After this, the king definitely had no arguments left and agreed with his daughter. Victory was Alexa's. "Wait, you can't," said the Duke. Alexa answered him. "Duke Manuel, why are you interfering in our conversation?" "But we must protect Felipe's kingdom at all costs," the Duke replied. "I agree with the Duke. You have a personal life, but you can't leave the state," said the Count. Alexa thought that these two had been waiting for this moment all their lives. "Do you really think that I once betrayed the state?" she asked. And Alexa thought to herself that they were mistaken if they thought that she would leave them alone. "Shameless, do you have no conscience left at all? While you were sitting in warm rooms, I was fighting a monster on the verge of life and death. You went to ceremonial banquets while I risked my life." The Count said that she has superhuman strength, but Alexa reminded her that she was no longer a monster. The Duke asked the girl to calm down and talk to them. Alexa told him that she only mated from the curse and they were sending her off to war again. And because of this, she will not be able to meet her only betrothed. The Duke replied that she had only done for the state, that she would definitely find herself a worthy person. "Do you really think so? So I can choose anyone?" Alexa asked. After the Duke's confirmation, she said, "Then I choose your son. He performed well in the hunting competitions, so I choose him." Princess Alexa stunned everyone, saying this with a sweet smile on her face. The Duke answered the princess that his son was not good enough for her. Alexa said that it's okay because no one is born great, especially since she liked him. The Count suggested that the princess resolve this issue somehow differently, because these are their personal matters and it all looks rather selfish. Have you ever wondered how dangerous this could be for the kingdom? The princess provides a service to the kingdom. This is incomprehensible. The Count was indignant. "You are too arrogant. Are you calling me selfish?" Alexa answered him angrily. The king asked them what the problem was. Alexa replied that the problem is that the entire kingdom rests on her fragile shoulders. The king asked her what they should do with the monsters. And he asked for help for the last time. The girl agreed, but on one condition. "My selfishness is dangerous, and Felipe's well-being is a small price to pay for the battle. I demand generous payment for my services." The king asked what she was talking about. Alexa explained to him that she wanted to get paid for the work she did. The father reminded that this was a debt to the country, not a business deal. Alexa said that she often remembers the past. The only way to thank her for all her work is through a reward. And money is the best gratitude. She asked if the aristocracy would not understand her importance if her work was appreciated. For one monster, Alexa demanded 2,000 gold coins. And the princess added that in wars, each monster will be counted separately. The king gave in and accepted her terms, since there was nothing left to do. Then Alexa said that she was leaving and added that at home, she would calculate how much he owed her for monsters and hunting competitions. The king was shocked. When Alexa left, he said, "She wants 2,000 gold coins. That's almost a year's salary for one soldier. And this is for one more monster? This is almost the same as refusing to carry out an order. Was she blackmailing me? No, she's not that smart, but why is everything going wrong?" In the palace of the Duke of Belcalan, his servant Salovin asked his master if there was a reason for their delay in Philip. Belcalan replied that he had personal business here. A boy, Mill, looked into the Archduke's office. The servant Salovin scolded the boy for not knocking. He told the Duke that he had an urgent letter from Princess Alexa. Salovin had never seen Alexa and asked the Duke what was in the letter. Threats or a challenge to a duel. Belcalan answered him that this was not such a letter. Then the servant asked why the princess was sending him a letter. The boy replied that Salovin was wrong, and the princess was simply inviting the gentleman to tea. Belcalan replied, "That's right," and smiled at the boy. Mill said that the princess allowed the answer to be sent to her until tomorrow, but the Duke said that he would answer the princess right away and asked him to give her the letter. Servant Salovin did not understand what was happening to the Duke. Will he answer the letter? My master, who is always as serious as a stone, fell in love with a monster? Thought the servant, and he did not really like this thought. A few days later, Archduke Belcalan stood before the king. His Majesty said that he invited him to solve the monster problem. "They are on the way to your estate, be careful," said the king. But the Duke admitted that he would be staying in the capital on personal matters. The king protested that the duke of a country should never refuse orders because of personal matters, but he agreed to postpone this issue for a while. Felkelon asked the king if he had not said it was urgent. His Majesty replied that they did not have a leader for the groups. Then what was the point of urgently sending people? His Majesty said that he hoped for Alexa, but she refused. And he admitted that he could not find a responsible person in this country. Then Belkalon asked why he should not send Prince William. This will help him govern the country in the future, the Archduke added. Belkalon promised to train him with His Majesty's permission. The Duke and Alexa, I can't control them anymore, thought the king. Archduke Belkalon woke Alexa, who was sleeping on a bench in the garden. The girl jumped up in surprise and asked what he was doing here and how he found her. The Duke said that the maids showed him where she was. Alexa said that she read until late at night when in fact she had a duel with Lord Essenhar. Alexa suggested continuing their conversation at the tea table. On the way there, the girl asked the Duke why he came so early, because they were supposed to meet after lunch. Felkelon replied that His Majesty had summoned him here. Don't tell me that His Majesty ordered you to kill the monsters? The girl asked in surprise. The Duke took her hand and said that Prince Wilhelm would now take over the conquest of the monsters. Alexa did not believe what she heard and demanded details. As they drank tea, Belkalon revealed that he had refused to participate in the war. Then Alexa asked how soon he would leave for his estate. Felkelon replied that he would like to stay in the capital for a while. Then the girl asked what he forgot here. In the capital. There are beautiful flowers here, I want to take a closer look at them, replied the Duke. Alexa was surprised but replied that irises grow in the royal garden. She invited him to finish his tea and take a walk in the garden. While walking, Alexa asked the Duke what his favorite flower was. He replied that he did not know. Alexa didn't understand why he said then that he stayed here because of the flowers. Belkalon said that he does not know their names, but just wants to take a closer look and choose. Then the girl took him by the hand and led him through the garden. The flowers here for the most part are from other regions. I heard they are difficult to control because they are not yet known to us. Alexa thought about the fact that the flowers were from other countries. From a foreign country. Is there a word that better describes me in this world? I'm a stranger here. She uploaded. Belkalon asked Alexa for forgiveness. Since she was sad, he thought that he had offended her in some way. The girl said she was fine. And Belkalon said, Alexa, would you like to go with me to the festival in the capital? The girl was happy because in essence this meant that he invited her on a date. Alexa replied to Belkalon that she would be happy to go to the festival with him and would look forward to this day. Suddenly, she heard a voice familiar to her. What a pleasant surprise. I was just planning to visit you since you were too ill to accept my invitations. Are you feeling better now? Asked Princess Ariel and added that she did not expect to see the Archduke here. Belkalon greeted Princess Ariel. The princess asked the Archduke if he was not going to return to his estate. Alexa replied that Belkalon intended to stay in the capital on business. Princess Ariel's maid coughed pointedly and said, Princess Alexa, even if you are a member of the royal family, you must address the Duke by his title. Calling someone by name is something that a lower-class aristocracy would do. Therefore, this could cause damage to the royal family. Alexa was about to start an argument with her, but Belkalon stopped her and told everyone that it was he who asked Alexa to call him by his name. I asked the princess to call me by name, so I advise you to watch your words, the Duke added. The maid apologized to him for offending him. Princess Ariel also apologized to the Duke for her maid, and invited him to have tea with her as an apology. But the Duke refused. Belkalon said that they should ask Alexa for forgiveness, not him. Ariel apologized to her sister for her maid. Alexa replied that everything was fine. It's okay, Ariel. Belkalon and I understand everything, Alexa said. Ariel was surprised by their closeness, but she told her sister that she was very happy for her. After all, you had no friends at all in the palace. I'm glad you're getting along with the Archduke. This suggests that you are getting used to life in the palace. To be honest, I'm even a little envious. I myself would like to get along with the Duke, Princess Ariel admitted. I never had the opportunity to meet you, so I'm just happy that we are all here today, Ariel told Belkalon. Princess Ariel invited the Duke to have tea with her, but he took Alexa's hand and said that it was time for them to return. Belkalon told Alexa that he would take her to the palace. My apologies, Princess Ariel, but I don't have much time. I'm afraid I won't be able to join your tea party, he answered Ariel. Ariel replied that it was okay. They could sit together another time. The Duke said goodbye and pulled Alexa along with him. The girl followed him. "You must be very busy if you are in such a hurry," Alexa asked the Duke when they walked away a little. The guy replied that they could go slower. Then the girl asked if it was he who said that he had little time. Belkalon replied that he had all the time in the world to spend with her. The next day, Ariel invited Alexa to tea. Ariel was making cookies, which Alexa loved. Alexa didn't expect anything less. She knows her sister's tastes too well. And finally, Ariel asked the question that worried her so much. "Alexa, did you see off the Archduke yesterday?" Alexa replied that she behaved appropriately, so she had no reason to worry. And since Giselle warned her, she did not do anything disgraceful to the royal family. The girl understood that yesterday's meeting with Ariel was not an accident. She most likely intended to meet with her and Belkalon. Ariel is kind and affectionate to her sister, at least when they are alone. However, when strangers are around, she seems to be suffocating her, imperceptibly but persistently. It is quite difficult to discern any kind of tenderness in such behavior. Princess Ariel is an extremely complex person. Therefore, the current Alexa would prefer not to get involved in this. But she doesn't want to leave it as it is, and she wants to take revenge for the Alexa who suffered. "I just want to return what was stolen from her," the current Alexa decided. "Alexa, what did you talk about with the Archduke?" Ariel asked again. Alexa didn't understand why she needed this, but she replied that the Duke invited her to go to the festival with him. "Do you mean the Festival of Abundance?" Ariel asked in surprise. "No, I'm afraid you won't succeed," she added. Alexa replied that she did not need her sister's permission to do this. The royal family holds a celebration on the same day. "And since you are a member of this family, your presence is expected," said Ariel. Alexa replied that she was not talking about that particular day. The girl understood that Ariel was obviously obsessed with Alex. But what is the reason? Ariel continued to ask about the Duke and waited for a specific answer from her sister. When Alexa said it was a secret, Ariel just lost her temper. "Why are you so upset? This is not like you," said Princess Alexa. Ariel apologized and said that she didn't mean to raise her voice at all. And she admitted that she was simply upset that her sister was hiding something from her. Alexa replied that everyone has secrets intended only for themselves. "I can't tell you absolutely everything about how it was as a child. I don't want anyone to know about our plans with Belkalon," Alexa honestly told her sister. "Just like you didn't tell me about your relationship with the Marquis of Bedford, I don't want to share some things with you. You understand, right?" Alexa finished. Then, after a short pause, Alexa asked why not spend time with the Marquis instead of wasting it on her. Alexa watched her sister's reaction, and she couldn't tell for sure whether Ariel was happy or was about to burst into tears. The expression on her face was completely unreadable. Alexa and Belkalon met at the festival. The guy asked why she came alone. Alexa asked who else she was supposed to come with. Belkalon was worried that this was very dangerous, and he asked her not to do that again and to be sure to take one of the servants with her as an escort. The girl laughed because the word dangerous was not for her, and she asked if she really looked like someone who would need help. Then she smiled and said that they needed to hurry if they wanted to have time to explore everything here, and took the Duke by the hand. Alexa couldn't believe that she was holding her first festival in the company of Archduke Belkalon. Plus, everything around looked so delicious. The girl was constantly distracted by food, and the Duke held her hand and asked her to be close because she might get lost. Alexa was offended that he mistook her for a child. Later they saw a sweet shop. Belkalon asked the girl to wait a little, and then he brought her fruit sherbet. It tasted amazing. Then the guy said that there was a fountain nearby, and they immediately went there. Alexa felt like she was in heaven. The sherbet was excellent, and she fed it to the Duke. Belkalon admitted that although it was childish, it was very funny and he liked it. Therefore, he also took a spoon and began to feed Alexa. The girl was so happy that she still got to this festival. As they walked, they came to a place that seemed different to Alex from the others at the festival. Belkalon replied that guild members and mercenaries were gathering here. For this reason, she should always be on guard to avoid minor troubles. When Alexa saw the yogurt sign, the guy knew she wanted that too, and the Duke asked her to wait while he bought her yogurt. While Alexa was waiting, she noticed how many creepy people there were. She thought that this might have something to do with the fact that there are quite a lot of weapon stalls here. The girl decided that she could look around a little. She found one shop very interesting. She thought that jewelry was often hidden in such places. When the princess saw this object, she did not quite understand what it was. It looked like a pen in a painted case. Alexa told the seller that she would take it. The seller asked if the girl was sure of her choice. After all, this pen is not entirely simple. Alexa replied that she was sure and reached for her pen. "So this is where you are. I am buying it. Name your price," the guy said to the seller. Alexa asked the guy who he was and why she should give him this pen. The guy replied that he was the one who knew much more about this thing than she did, and he grabbed the pen and held it in his hand. And Alexa did not want to let go of his hand. She began to argue with him that she was the first to notice this pen. The guy replied that since she had not yet paid for it, the pen did not belong to her. They made such a noise that everyone around them paid attention. "Killian, for the sake of all that is holy, explain what is happening here," asked the guy's father. Then the Archduke approached them and told Alexa that she could not afford to walk around like that here. He admitted that he was very worried that something had happened to her. "I apologize, Your Grace. Please forgive my son's insolence," asked Count Ergen. Belkalon told him that everything was fine. And Alexa, hearing the Count's surname, remembered that Alexa's mother, Camilla, came from the House of Ergen. They own the largest trading establishments in Felipe. Then it must be Alexa's uncle, Duncan Ergen. "And yes, Alexa, this pen is cursed." "You didn't know about this?" Belkalon asked in surprise. "A greedy demon placed a curse on her and wished, 'Anyone who touches her will be deprived of their magical powers,'" the Duke said. "He incinerated it in his hand. I wanted to prevent you from losing your magic, but you treated me like I was some kind of thief," admitted Killian Ergen. Alexa wanted to deal with the seller of this pen, but he was no longer there. Belkalon said it was good that she didn't lose much magic. But he really asked her to be careful next time, since the power magic stolen by the demon is no longer returned. Alexa couldn't believe that something so harmless at first glance could turn out to be so dangerous. She was so engrossed in that pen. The girl thought that someone could have planned this. Belkalon asked Alexa to be more reasonable in the future and not take things of this kind into her hands. Then they said goodbye to the Count and left. Killian thought that the Archduke was ready to incinerate him on the spot, protecting Alexa. Killian called his father, but he said, "Alexa, who would have thought that I would see you again? She looks exactly like you, Camilla." As they continued their walk, Alexa asked Belkalon the question that had been worrying her so much. "That pen, it didn't work on you, did it?" Belkalon replied that demonic objects do not affect people like themselves, and although he is not a full-fledged demon, demonic blood still flows in him, the child of a demon and a human, and a princess turned monster. It is not difficult to guess why a connection formed between them. Alexa saw herself reflected in him. "How can you behave so recklessly on the eve of our sacred festival?" the king shouted. Alexa understood thanks to whom he knew about this. "You must be in the palace and accompany the delegation from Ophelia, and for your own good you will be faithful to your duties," he continued. "Father, I am sure that Alexa will now think about her actions, so please don't be so harsh on her," Ariel begged. The father said that for the sake of Ariel he is letting Alexa go, but now he will watch her closely. Ariel asked her sister if she was angry with her for telling her father about the walk. "So that's what happened?" Alexa asked. Ariel replied that she was worried about her sister, not only because she is new to the capital, but also because she was with the Archduke. "He may be a member of the royal family, but he is first and foremost a demon. You may not understand yet, but he is cruel and terrible," said Ariel. Alexa replied that Ariel herself recently invited him for a cup of tea. "I have nothing more to say to you, Ariel. You've already exhausted my trust," Alexa said as she left. Ariel shouted after her, "Liar, this is not about trust at all but about the Archduke, right? He is so dear to you that you don't even obey the will of the king for his sake." Alexa turned and said that she didn't think Ariel could be so upset about something like that. Ariel asked her sister to answer, but she said that she already knew the answer. "Among all those cruel and selfish people in the palace, he was the only one who took my side. If you continue, you will only distance us further from each other." "Now please forgive me," Alexa said and left. But Ariel still shouted after her and asked her to come back and talk. Alexa was angry that she didn't understand her. Alexa was not expecting his visit, but the maid Lily announced that a guest had arrived, and it turned out to be Count Ergen. At the table, he said that he was pleased to know that she was doing well. "We haven't seen each other for a long time, Uncle," said Alexa. The Count replied that he should have met her earlier and asked for forgiveness for not doing so. The girl replied that she understood. After all, he must have been busy with family matters. The Count said that he had heard that she would be accompanying a delegation from Ophelia. Alexa was surprised at how quickly rumors spread. The uncle asked how the preparations were going. The girl replied that it was more difficult than she suggested. The girl said that due to the fact that she was still locked in the Kennedy estate as a monster, news of the notoriety of the Ophelian delegation did not reach her. Despite the might of the entire empire behind them, they are also notorious for their arrogance. They looked down on the kingdom and were ready to reproach the slightest mistake. They are a time bomb that suddenly fell into my hands. If I back down, I will face the wrath of the royal family, who were not kind to me anyway. The Count offered her his help. "My commercial organization will supply you with everything you need. We will teach you the intricacies of communication, etiquette, and knowledge of politics. And we will do everything else that may be necessary to make a good impression. We will also provide you with the best gifts that will be given to them. If you complete this task, you will be able to strengthen your position." Alexa asked the Count what he wanted in return. He asked if she could do it. Alexa asked first to announce the price, and then she would make a decision. The Count praised her for being an excellent deal-maker. The girl replied that the blood of Felipe's best traders still flows in her. Then the Count admitted that he was pursuing only one goal. He wants Alexa to help make their family's app official. The girl thought that he wanted to use her for political purposes. Therefore, she replied that he had chosen the wrong person. "Unlike my sister, I do not have enough power. I was named second princess, without any special rights in politics." Then the Count said, "I didn't mean politics and power. How long are you going to live this way? Early loss of mother, exile to the palace, oppressive past. Are you really just going to turn a blind eye to this? You have become too fused with your victim princess side, who has been through a lot." Alexa told her uncle that he was already crossing all boundaries. The Count said that he wanted only the best for her, and she ignores the opinion of the rest of the aristocracy. "So you came here just to talk about this topic? Then I'm not going to talk any further," said the princess. "Are you afraid of being the center of attention? Do you want to live in peace? I would have done the same thing, having seen all the ins and outs of the palace, but there is something you didn't realize. Princess, you could not have become invisible from the moment you were born. Whether you want it or not, you will be forced to take part in this," said the Count. Alexa only wished for a peaceful and quiet life, which Lee Hanbiel lacked so much. The Count said, "You must become the one who will represent the Ergen family. Not me, but you. We need to get back into the game. After the death of Camilla, your mother, it was as if we were excluded from the capital's society. No one wants to know the family of a concubine who committed suicide." "Did you commit suicide?" Alexa was surprised. The Count said that when Camilla had not yet died and Ergen had not established themselves in politics, it took quite a long time. She gave birth to a monster. A princess who became a monster and her mother who committed suicide. It was no wonder that the rumors were so hyped. But these are just rumors. And yet, Ergen, isn't this the family that produced the concubine and the princess? Such rumors cannot affect such a family, asked the princess. And Alexa continued to think, what if there was something more behind the rumors? If there is real power to spread rumors? This hypothesis is not accurate. But Ergen, who has power, the king's actions to restrain Alexa, it all points to one thing. "Uncle, was the royal family behind these events?" she asked.
He didn't answer directly, and Alexa clarified that he wanted her to gain strength. "That's right, I want the aristocratic faction to follow you," the Count replied.
Alexa asked him if it wasn't too reckless to bet his family on the forgotten second princess. The Count replied that she was afraid to meet them face to face. The girl knew the people the princess had to deal with, His Royal Majesty and the aristocrats from the king's faction. And she wasn't afraid of them. The fear of losing her comfortable life shackled her. But there is always a price to pay for confrontation, and Alexa said that she will be the only one who has to face this. But the Count objected. Our Ergen family will be with the princess. Alexa reminded him that if he lost, he would lose everything. He replied that she could not be defeated. Because Ergen does not participate in fights where there is room for loss, he added. Alexa asked what would happen if she refused. The Count replied that it would only get worse. Therefore, she just needs to move forward and they will help her. Alexa understood that Count Ergen was right and this battle could not be avoided. And the royal family will punish her even more. Count Ergen informed Alexa that after her consent, they would immediately begin preparing a reception for the delegation. The girl didn't know what the real Alexa was, but she wasn't going to back down. Alexa walked out onto the balcony and wondered if she would do well. Although the decision cannot be changed, she always doubts before starting. She is afraid of losing everything and living as before, because all this is still not hers. The girl wondered if the real Alexa was cursing her for her selfishness. But Li Hanbyul didn't want to come here and become Alexa. Lily told the princess that she was seeing off the Count. The girl said that she would take a walk in the garden. The princess sat under a tree in the garden and cried. She didn't want to blame Alexa for her weakness, but she was very afraid of becoming Li Hanbyul again. Suddenly, Belkalan approached her and asked why she was crying. The girl thought why she always looked so ridiculous in front of him. The Duke held her close and calmed her down. Then he asked who upset her so much. But the girl asked Belkalan to tell her that everything would be fine. Everything will be fine. You have nothing to worry about. You are safe. No one will harm you, Belkalan said and gently wiped away her tears. Alexa was happy to have this person next to her. But she was afraid of what would happen to her if this warmth left her. She was afraid that she would not be able to cope with this emptiness. The princess hugged the Duke and asked him to just stay by her side. And Belkalan promised that he would not go anywhere. And they sat like that for some more time. When the princess fell asleep, the Duke brought her into the room and told the maid Lily that he would carry her to the bed. The Duke laid Alexa down and kissed her forehead, wishing her good night. Lily thanked the Duke for bringing the princess. Belkalan asked if Princess Alexa had an audience with anyone today. The maid replied that Count Ergen had come to see her, and after their meeting ended, the princess was very upset. Belkalan realized that the Count was looking for Alexa after the festival. "Come out, don't make me repeat it twice," Belkalan shouted. A guy appeared from the circle. Nothing has changed, my brother," he said. "Who is your brother?" asked Belkalan. "We are brothers, Belkalan. Were we not born of the same father? Only I was born a full-fledged demon, and you were born in a small human belly. Abraxas himself considers you his brother. You must understand that this is a great honor for you," the guy added. The demon asked if their relationship turned sour. Would their late father be upset? Belkalan replied that he did not want to hear about it from the man who killed their father. "Have you been seeing Princess Alexa much lately? A woman with dark hair like ours. You seem to like her a lot. She looks like your mother," said Abraxas. "It would be quite fun to turn her into a demon. Come to think of it, our father was also quite romantic. He caught the one he liked and turned her into a demon like us. Who would have thought that the notorious Belzebuth could do such a thing? Even though he put mana into her, her body was human, and she did not last long. However, Princess Alexa also has great magical powers. Since she has such a body, she will last quite a long time. Unlike your mother, she could become the perfect demon." Belkalan grabbed his brother by the shirt and told him not to even dare touch it. "You look like our father. I don't think you even know that you are the son of the Demon King. Raphael, that idiot, seems to still be convinced that you are of the same blood. In fact, not a single drop of blood was mixed. In any case, thanks to stupid people, Belzebuth's son is considered a scion of the royal family. The only one, the Grand Duke, he lives well," said the guy. "What do you mean by this?" Belkalan asked. Abraxas said that he wanted to give him advice. "Advice as a brother, because my brother is naive and stupid. Think carefully no matter how much demon blood you have. Can you afford to be a monster with a girl? Then I could be a more suitable heir to Belzebuth," said the demon. Belkalan wanted to hit the guy, but he stopped his fist. The demon said that his daughter-in-law claims that some dirty half-breed cannot defeat me. "But is it fair to compare the magical powers of a half-demon and a demon?" Abraxas boasted. The guy bound Belkalan's neck with magic and said that he would take care of this princess. He then said that Belkalan was too calm, and asked if he had inherited humanity. And then the demon said, "My father loved this half-breed bastard. Let the Asmodean seal movement be criticized among the people. King Felipe's predecessor protected this woman. He made a pregnant woman his queen. The guy who was born this way became a member of the royal family. The movement of Asmodean seals, which spread like wildfire throughout the continent, was fortunately avoided, only in order to protect the half-breed and the human race. It's a shame for the demon that the king of the underworld did such a stupid thing. As an older brother, I will change your habits, the guy said and lowered him to the ground. Abraxas directed his magic at his brother, towards the head, and Belkalon directed the entire accumulation of his magic into his stomach, and, immobilizing him, said, "Don't touch Alexa." Blood flowed from the demon's mouth and he said, "Just this power, mana, we can't use mana, she is the opposite of demonic forces. Like you said, I'm a damn half-demon. Let's see if I can use these two powers together," Belkalon replied. The demon said that this is all nonsense. "If you don't touch Alexa, I won't use this power. But if you try again, then I will kill you," the Duke warned the demon. Then the demon asked his brother why he didn't kill him right now. And can this be called sympathy for the only relative on this earth? Belkalon replied that he could think as he wanted. The demon said that this cannot be done. He can't just stop being human. But the Duke did not listen to him and left. Saisi Hikuch was responsible for teaching etiquette to the royal family of Epeli for 20 years. Now, after retirement, he teaches at the academy and teaches etiquette to young children. He taught the princess how to stand and hold her dress correctly, and she was very annoyed by this. "Princess, be patient. Are you going to show your vulnerable spots to your enemies?" said Count Ergen. After demonstrating in front of Count Ergen and learning how to walk with Sisi, after 3 hours of etiquette lessons, Alexa went to the next room, where she was scolded by the teacher for being late. The distance from the dance hall to the office is approximately 600 yards, and you should have arrived here in 2 minutes and 15 seconds. Even if we take into account your fatigue after the previous lesson, you had 3 minutes and 15 seconds. But you were another 32 seconds late. 32 seconds is precious time. For a farmer, it is picking 5 berries, and for a seamstress, it is picking up 3 stitches. I want scientists to understand how precious every second is. This is an issue that can be filed under Section 436 of the Imperial Code for violation of personal intangible assets. This man is the wisest man in Felipe, Archimalaeus Odd. This is the teacher who will teach Alexa the history of the continent. He also teaches Killian Ergen. As punishment for being 32 seconds late, the teacher assigned Alexa to memorize the entire book on the history of the Empire by tomorrow. The girl had never been so overloaded before. When Alexa entered her room, Killian was sitting there insulting her and calling her hurtful names. The girl asked him to leave her room, but the guy didn't leave and started calling her stupid again. After he insulted her in front of the maid who brought them tea, Alexa exploded and beat him. "I don't care how tactless you are, but at least when there is someone else, why don't you treat me like a princess?" Alexa asked. Killian said that he realized that he would have no fun at all if he behaved so impudently. Count Ergen apologized for his lateness and asked if they had been quarreling. When they all sat down at the table, Alexa said that she needed to ask them something. She put the bag on the table and said, "This is a monster pheromone." The Count asked where she got it. The girl asked if they remembered the monster attack on the day of the hunting competition. The Count replied that the entire royal family had to evacuate that day. Alexa said that this pouch is the cause of all the chaos. Someone secretly slipped it into the bag of Archduke Belkalin's horse. This bag contains a pheromone that attracts monsters. That day, the monsters seemed to have gone crazy and specifically chased him into the hunting grounds. The girl said that she had done her own research, but to no avail. And I thought they might find out something, so I brought it here. The Count asked if she was looking for the manufacturer of this bag, but the princess replied that she was looking for a buyer, and the reason why he left him to the Duke is kept there. Alexa also said that in battle she saw the skin of a monster which was so durable that it could not be compared with anything else. Therefore, she offered to take their skins, to use them to strengthen the knight's armor by placing the skin between the iron armor and underwear. The Count replied that this was a great idea. He promised that he would immediately notify trusted people, and they would get to work. Count Ergen said he would take care of the materials and implementation costs. When large-scale production begins, profits will be divided 6-4. Or how about 80% for the princess? The Count asked Alexa. The girl was worried that then her uncle would have very little left. But he replied that since such a quantity of leather was not easy to find on the market, the price would be serious. And even at a rate of 20% you can get a stable profit. Just give me exclusive rights to the products of this product, the Count answered her. Now we'll get to the main point before that. Can I ask you something? I don't know if something like this would be an insult to you. What is your relationship with the Grand Duke? The uncle asked Alexa. The girl thought about it. They went through a lot, but is it possible to say based on those moments? She likes him, but is it sincere and not out of sympathy or friendship? Alexa replied that she didn't know. Then the Count asked her to be careful in future because he is a demon. The princess retorted that she thought he was an excellent young man. The world doesn't look at the truth, don't you know that better than anyone else? Said the uncle, and Alexa understood that he was right. But she could not push away the man who extended his hand to her. She needed him now. Then Alexa said that they needed to find another person. If they cannot accept the Grand Duke, then I will not be accepted either. The girl thought and said that she and the Archduke were alike. The princess admitted that he is the one who has special meaning for her. The Count was upset and said that Camilla was the same. She also, no matter how many people reached a dead end, did not miss a single person. I hope you don't become like her, said Count Ergen. Walking down the corridor, Alexa thought, come to think of it, I heard that the Count and Camilla had different views, and they had their secrets. The girl was met by the Duke of Belkalon, and they went for a walk. Alexa said that the Count's garden was more magnificent than the garden in the royal palace. Belkalon replied that this family was the best in trade matters, and there are many flowers here that are not often seen. When the princess was looking at the flowers, she remembered the Count's words and decided to ask the Duke what the relationship was between them. What is between me and you? She didn't care what anyone said if Belkalon thought the same way as her, but he was silent. Have you really never considered us special? The girl asked. She was starting to get nervous because there had been silence between them for so long. Alexa didn't want to believe that it was all a mistake, and she left. But the guy grabbed her hand and she said, I'm asking for the last time, what do you think about us? The Duke replied that he would not understand. In fact, I'm the one who's why we can't be together. I don't dare to start a relationship, Belkalon admitted. Is that your answer? Alexa asked. I was the only one who was mistaken. I thought you were the same as me. I hope you won't get into trouble because of me, Grand Duke, said the princess, and got ready to leave. Alexa, don't say that. Don't call me Duke like you did then. Don't talk as if you're talking to a stranger, the Duke asked. But she left. The girl could not cope with her heart. No matter how many times she went through this, it was still torn to pieces. Therefore she left, leaving him alone. Belkalon came to her again and again. She heard it both in the castle and in the Count's estate. However, she didn't see him. There was nothing left between them, because she wanted to belong only to him. Her uncle told her that the lilacs in the garden had almost withered as it was getting colder at night, and he asked her how about a walk in the garden. And the girl only thought that the lilacs were blooming on the last day of their meeting with Belkalon. The princess already regretted that everything had turned out this way. Maybe I should have been content with the relationship we had, she thought as she walked down the corridor. Alexa, the princess suddenly heard. It was he, and she thought that she needed to run away because it was he who made the choice. The girl decided that there should be no more vain hopes. But the Duke caught up with her in the garden and hugged her tightly, pressing her tightly to himself and said, Alexa, just give me a chance to explain myself. I will become your protection and support. While we were in an uncertain relationship, everything was fine. But now I will become your weakness. I won't be able to get to where you and the Count are going. It will only be more difficult if you keep me close to you. Alexa replied that she was a monster just like him, but the Duke objected. We are not alike. We are not the same. Alexa didn't understand what that meant. I'm a mudblood. No, I'm not even human. The more you know, the more you will be hated and despised. The Duke admitted that he was weak, and so he let her go. If you had chosen me, I would not have been able to push you away. Then I will become your weak point, he admitted. The girl looked into his eyes and accepted that she would choose a man who would look only at her, and she will never be able to refuse it, because it is beyond her capabilities. Alexa kissed Belkalon and he asked, Alexa, did you choose me? That's right, I chose you, the princess answered the Archduke. Now you won't be able to escape. I won't let you go no matter how hard you try, said the princess and pressed herself tightly to her beloved man. He understands very well what she is trying to say, the looks of people with hostility and disgust, but still she chose him. He is better than anything she could have, because she loves him. and so they became lovers. And from that moment on, they became responsible for each other. "Salavan, how many spies did the king send after me?" Belkalon asked a servant while in his office late at night. He replied, "There are many of them, but we know everyone." "Kill everyone!" ordered the Archduke. Salovan was shocked by this order and said that even if they carried out a purge, this would not be the best way. "I have to make sure that the king doesn't care about anything else but me. And tell your wife to come to the capital. Our stay in the capital will be very long," said the Duke.